Welcome everybody to the Jiu-Jitsu Project podcast. This is number 9. I'm Professor Mike Geary here with my co-host Professor Butch.
Woo-hoo.
And our special guest today, Professor / Sensei Ross Kellen from Champions MMA. Yay! So thank you for being here, Ross.
Thank you.
So, Butch, what's new in the world?
Let me see. Donald Trump is up for impeachment.
Yay! Donald Trump's going to be impeached. I can't wait.
Which it will never, ever happen.
He's going to milk this all the way to the election, and it'll probably get him elected again.
But maybe we should do our podcast on Sunday, all things political and religious.
On Sunday, here at the dojo. Yes. It's quite the interesting conversation.
So if you're in town, if you're around the world, we're hearing that we get hits from all around the world. In Germany, hopefully you're having a good time at Oktoberfest. Drink a few beers for me.
Victor already went to the Munich
I saw that.
parade. You know Victor. Of course you know Victor.
So if you're here visiting around the world to Newport Richey, Florida, please stop by, especially on Sunday, and get some rolls in.
Yes, the dojo is always open to all of our friends across the world in jiu-jitsu and judo, jiu-jitsu, grappling, all the grappling arts. If you wrestle, if you do sambo, and you just want to come in and get some rolls, as long as you're not a jerk, come to the academy and we'll all have a great time.
And then if you're in the karate world and you want to learn how to actually fight on the ground, you're more than welcome as well.
Absolutely. So tonight, like I said, we have Professor Ross here. So Professor Ross is one of the oldest black belts, longest serving black belts in the Tampa Lakeland area.
It's like a prison sentence.
I know you're not the oldest. There's a couple of guys. I think who's got the record for the oldest professor here? Is it Marcio Zimas?
Yeah,
What
for sure.
What
Probably
about
the oldest.
Is it Marcio who's thinking
Probably the oldest.
Yeah, he was black belt way before I was. 19 years.
How
Luis Paredes is up in Jacksonville, but I mean in the immediate area, probably Marcio Simmons.
Are they the same rank, Luis and Marcio?
Marcio, I think, is.
He's a 6 now, right? Luis is 7th.
I think so.
I think Luis 7th.
Yeah.
The guys are getting old. You probably remember practically when Marcio opened up. When did you start jiu-jitsu? You go way. People don't know that about you. He goes way back.
I started as a kid. I wrestled. My dad had me wrestling, and when UFC first came out, that's when I was like, I gotta jump in on this. So, 93, I was living in Lakeland. In 94, I had gotten married and moved up to Delaware. And I started training with some guys in Philadelphia and in Delaware. There was a guy there named John. He was a blue belt under Henzo. And there was another purple belt, a Roman Brazilian purple belt, which back then was like, it was like seeing a god. There was none.
People don't realize that. They don't know that anymore.
No. And so I was teaching at a kung fu school at the time, Shuai Jiao, which is Chinese wrestling, and we heard about this guy teaching the jiu-jitsu. So we'd get together twice a week, some Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. and then like Tuesdays or Wednesdays at like 6 a.m. twice a week, and we trained. And we did that for quite a while. And then that was in I think it was Newcastle. And then I worked in Philly. I did pest control. And I traveled up to Philly and trained Sambo, because the only other person around at the time was Steve Maxwell.
Yeah.
And I think Steve was still under Boyce and them at the time, or Hellson, and he switched affiliations. But I trained at Maxercise in Philadelphia a couple times, and but nothing like official. And then I just kept training and traveling around training. I ended up moving back to Florida a couple years later. And then I hooked up with my professor, Marco Santos. First time I met him was I think 99 or 2000.
Yeah.
And then I've been under him ever since. And he's the one who awarded me the black belt.
In 2005? 5 was it? Yeah, because I remember that you were a black belt in 2005. We were like, I want to say we were probably still blue. I think I was still a blue belt when I first met you. I think we had some people come over to the lake to one of the Copas.
I was gonna say you started Copa roughly around then as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Copa. Well, my first grappling tournament was called Rival Grappling, and before I even turned it into MMA, and that was in '98, I think. And I had like Richard Crunkleton who was on it.
Oh wow, Rich Crunkleton from the Armory.
Yeah.
From the Armory. Yeah, he was an old UFC vet. Yeah.
Well,
I remember him.
He had two significant injuries in his life. One was in the UFC to Hermes Franco, who broke his arm.
Yep, I remember Hermes
Franco. The other
Franco
was
too.
to my student Roger Kessler, broke his arm at the Rival.
Oh jeez.
In the semifinals, and then he ended up fighting Mike Cardoza, I think, in the finals. Who's an old school black belt, good friend of mine as well. But then
I know Mike.
We went from Rival to Copa Kimura, and then finally settled on Copa America.
Yeah.
2000 something.
It was early 2000. It was early. No, was it Copa America in 2007?
Yeah, we had switched to that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know I ref for you when I was a purple belt, up through all purple, all brown, and then up to black, and then every now and then we'll still occasionally if there's a need.
Well,
of course.
I had one of my old partners and I disassociated, and I changed to Copa America specifically because of that.
Gotcha.
Because I was sticking with Copa Kimura because me and another guy had a clothing line, Kimura clothing, and that's kind of what it was.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I remember that Kimura. Yeah.
Yeah, I did Rival Fight League, did Kimura, did Road Exchange with Jamie Levine, been around, just playing forever.
And now you also jumped into you were on the MMA side. You weren't just on the strictly jiu-jitsu.
Right.
You really from the beginning you focused on MMA too.
I did jiu-jitsu just to fill the holes that were there from, Sambo didn't have it, wrestling didn't have it. So the jiu-jitsu filled the holes, but in a most technical way.
Yeah.
And so that was mostly for MMA. Like jiu-jitsu's taken on a whole other world of its own. So my jiu-jitsu is specifically for MMA.
Right.
I'm not the sport jiu-jitsu guy. That's not my world.
No, but your stuff translates very easily to sports jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
Because you look at someone like your student Dakota
Rabine. Right.
Say it one more time.
Rabine.
They're gonna kill Dakota and his dad are gonna kill me for not being able to pronounce their names, but Dakota and Scott.
Right.
So Dakota just fought. What was it last year at one of the big events, big professional jiu-jitsu events in Orlando, and had like the submission of the night. He did a flying armbar. I mean, flying triangle. I mean, Dakota to me, having trained with Dakota for a long time, his jiu-jitsu is very equal to anybody in the sporting world at his size.
He competed against a guy named Siraj, who's a black belt under Renato Tavares. Siraj is a great guy. They've had three matches against each other. Two of the matches were in a local little tournament, and Dakota beat him by 2 points off of a takedown. Beat him off of an advantage on the second match. It was 2 out of 3, and then both in gi. And then, but that was at brown belt, and then. Siraj had got promoted to black belt, and Fight the Win came up, and Dakota's a lighter weight guy, and they were looking for an opponent for him, and so Dakota was getting close to getting his black belt at that time, so I let him go a little bit earlier, and he won, and he luckily he had tapped Siraj out. It was under a minute. I don't remember the exact time, but it was pretty quick, and he got him the flying triangle. Dakota was phenomenal as a kid grappler. He was one of the best in Florida.
Yep, I remember him.
You know who the only person who ever dominated him was?
Who?
Mikey Musumeci, who's the 4-time world champion
now.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Dakota was killing everybody. Like there was nobody could touch him in Florida.
Yeah,
he was killing everybody. And then, so he went down to, I think, one of Marcio's tournaments, like a Florida State tournament or something like that, in South Florida, to compete. And so I'm expecting a call. I couldn't make it for some reason, but I'm expecting a call that, I got first place. And he calls me, he's like, I got sick. I'm like, what happened? He's like, this kid tore me up. I'm like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? Who is he? And he told me, and of course I didn't remember that name.
Right, until years later.
Years later, well, I didn't even know. And then Dakota's like, you know who that is, right? I'm like, I have no idea. And he's like, he showed me the video. He's like, remember this? I'm like, oh shit.
That's crazy.
That's him. So yeah. That guy was great. But you know, Dakota would have. He's getting back in it now, but I have no doubt in my mind he would have ran circles around a lot of the people. But he had two neck surgeries.
Yeah.
He broke his neck twice.
Yeah.
So now he's just got cleared to train again. So he's going to be competing again soon.
Now I have a question for you. Now you were saying earlier that your style was more oriented toward the MMA, filling in the gaps. Now is that something that you kind of developed, or was it that Marco? Is that his style too? Because everybody has their style.
Santos.
Yeah, Marco Santos.
Yeah.
Was that more or less your interpretation of putting everything
what's
together?
funny is when me and Marco Santos got together, I taught him wrestling and no gi. Like I taught him leg locks, I taught him wrestling. He taught me
All the gi
to
stuff.
get this right.
stuff.
Yeah, all the jacket wrestling, all the real jiu-jitsu technical aspects of that. Because I didn't have. It didn't really matter to me because I was more MMA focused. So Marcus trained with me in MMA, and I trained with him in gi, and we had a great synergy. He's still my professor now. Like he calls me his professor in wrestling, and he was coach or whatever in MMA and striking. But no gi, it's that way. But the gi, it's all him.
It also says that about the kind of person he is. To have that high level respect for you as a martial artist.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of times, sometimes martial artists come in, especially a lot of the jiu-jitsu guys, think that they have everything and everything's covered, and they don't realize what some of the other arts can really add to that game, and especially in the early days when there wasn't a lot of no-gi.
No.
There wasn't a real big crossover with the wrestling yet.
I differ a little bit with you on that. I don't think it's just the jiu-jitsu guys, because I'm from the karate background, and you get just as many egomaniacs who think they know everything in the karate world who when I was in that jiu-jitsu stuff, that's not right, or that's not, and then and I remember our instructor saying several times, that other stuff doesn't work. But if you put everything in the right situation, groundwork's not going to just work in every situation. The stand-up's not going to work in every situation. Everything has to be in combination thereof. You have to be a complete fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. No question.
Yeah, when my personal journey, my dad wrestled. My mom was a big Bruce Lee fan, and I remember one of the earliest memories of myself being in a drive-in theater watching samurais chop people's heads off. That was like some of my earliest memories, And so I've always wanted to be a martial artist, not typical of all martial artists, but a lot of them is like they can't do anything else.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. Like if it's not has something to do with the martial arts.
Well, you have a full-time job though. You can work.
Well, yeah, I have a job, but I mean, as far as playing in any other sports, I mean, it was just a quick story off of that. I saw my mom this past weekend, and I started karate in 1984. After I did a demonstration at the original Karate Kid movie.
Oh, nice.
So my mom goes, and my mom is having a little rough time, but she goes, "Are you still in that karate stuff?" I said, "Well, yeah, Mom, I'm doing jiu-jitsu." And she goes, "I never thought you'd stick with it." I was like, "Why is that?" She goes, "Well," and she was telling my kids this. She goes, "He was doing everything. He played soccer, he played baseball, and just never really stuck with anything. And I put him in this karate, and now 35 years later, I'm still doing it and wouldn't think about doing really anything else." I mean, I come here, if anything, I mean, it's great socialization. And in fact, my wife sometimes will say, just get out of the house, go to jiu-jitsu. Just to be around here on the mats with it. If I'm having a bad day, this is the place I want to be, because it's just the most place I feel comfortable. But I can't see myself wanting to go out and play softball at my age. I'd rather be out on the mats fighting for about 15 rounds.
It's funny you say it, because I told my wife, I told her yesterday I was going to Geary's, and she subsequently forgot. And then I reminded her on my way out here. She's like, where you going? I'm like, I'm going to Mike Gary's. She's like, oh, good. Go see him. You guys haven't talked in a while. Hung out. She's like, it's good for you. I'm like, yeah. This is my therapy.
It's exactly our therapy. I mean, being a jiu-jitsu teacher and teaching jiu-jitsu, being a martial arts teacher, because it's not just jiu-jitsu teacher. I know you don't teach just technical martial arts. You teach the martial way of living. You teach the martial code. And however we translate that code, I try to do the same thing. Be a good person. Do the right thing. If you mess up, apologize, say you're wrong, and try to do the next right thing. We don't just teach martial arts. Not fighting stuff.
I think what the martial arts teaches you, it teaches you a lot of life lessons. In particular, Jiu-Jitsu really teaches you a lot of life lessons because of the type of art we're in the fact of the grappling. Somebody holds you down regardless of their size. It's a very daunting feeling to try to get them off you. And to learn how to do that without freaking out, you learn how to overcome other obstacles in your life, whether it be, you're having a rough day at work, you're having a rough day with your girlfriend, your spouse, your kids are being a pain. You kind of go back to some of these situations on the mat, and you're like, okay, if I can make it through, 250-pound so-and-so beating the living hell out of me, I can work on this. So it does. I mean, the martial arts and that also translates into karate. I mean, some of the biggest life lessons, as well as the best friends I've ever had, have been in martial arts, and I still keep in contact with them to this day. I mean, my first karate instructor is still like a father figure. Will never change. It's just but I have some of the funniest stories in the world about him, about the experiences with him, and it's just like I look fondly back on that, and it's like I would never change anything for the world.
No way.
And our instructor, who we don't keep in touch with, but some of the stories,
funny stories about
stories that come out are just nuts. I was talking to somebody, I guess it's turned into this, but I was talking to somebody, he hasn't trained in a while, and he trained with Mike and I years and years ago. And I said, why don't you come back and, come over and train with us? He had an injury. He goes, well, I don't want to get hurt. I said, you're safe with us. I said, but the main thing is I said, when Mike and I tell stories about Eduardo, people look at us and they're like, they give us the cross-eye, like, that stuff really happened. I said, if you were in class with us and we told you the stories, we would look right at you to say, did it happen? And it would give us validity at least, because we're like, nobody believes what we say half the time. It's like, because they can't believe that stuff happened, but it did.
It all happened. Those early days were filled with craziness.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely filled with crazy. I mean, I'm sure you talk about some of the competitions, the closed doors fights and stuff that happened in Florida, and I mean, it was nuts back in the day.
There's been some guys who've come up through it really professional-wise. The early circuit, D. Thomas, Paul Rodriguez, they came up, even Mike Lee.
Yeah.
They came up through some of the, not so much closed doors, but the small venues, Mike Cordoza, my guys. That's how we all became really good friends and formed that bond in Florida. And me and Mike Lee used to make a joke. It's like, he and I were the only two that didn't join ATT.
Because everybody
else, yeah.
Sure, at the time, everyone joined ATT, yeah.
It became that big animal. Yeah. But, it's kind of funny looking back. And then, Masvidal was one of the biggest guys out of the Florida fight circuit.
Who's that?
George Masvidal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He
came out of Florida?
Oh, yeah. He was in Kimbo street fights back in the day.
Okay.
That's how
Kimbo
Kimbo
down in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
George had been fighting a long time.
Yeah, he's from UFC.
Probably, before, he's probably doing 5-6 years before he started doing MMA. He was doing backyard fights. And he was on part of, Kimbo's crew, killing everybody.
You remember Kimbo's, all those videos? I remember watching those videos.
George is in those videos.
That's crazy. and then we even have a local guy, Seth Crucicelli, who knocked him out.
Yeah.
Knocked him out. Seth is awesome. He runs, it's the Jungle?
The Jungle. Him and Mike Lee, yeah. Seth's a good guy.
I remember watching Seth at a tournament that the Avalon brothers put on in Marcos and David Avalon put on in like, I want to say 2003 or 2004, and it was Seth Puccelli versus Jeff Munson. Oh man, what a show that was! That was unbelievable. I think I just got my blue belt a week before,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
these guys were.
2003, you were good.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. But real quick, also, you just had a fighter get into Bellator. Is that true?
Yeah.
That's got to be crazy.
Yeah, Jessica Borga. She's a badass. Her nickname is Black Widow. She's been with me about 5 years.
Sweetest, sweet, super sweet person, by the way.
Funny, you wouldn't think so with all the tattoos she's got on. But it's funny. This is one of the stories I have to tell about her. When she first joined the gym, she came in. She didn't really have any tattoos on or anything. Good-looking girl. She was real young, like 20-something. She came in, started training. It was real hardcore. And about a month later, I'll never forget this phone call. She called me. It's like, hey, coach, I can't train anymore. I'm like, oh shit, what happened? And she's like, well, I got pregnant. So I'm like, oh, okay. So she was literally calling to cancel her membership. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Well, good luck with it. Hope to see you. Whatever. So okay. 5 years later, she comes in and she's like, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I had a baby.
That's crazy.
I'm like, why'd you wait 5 years? But yeah, she did. So she would have been training by now like 10 years because her son's 10 years old.
That's crazy.
But yeah, she competed I think it was like 3 weeks ago. She beat a girl, armbarred her first round. So
I saw the end of it. That was nice.
Thank you. Yeah, everybody, even Hoist Gracie came up to her after the fight. She's like, man, that was a beautiful armbar.
She had to just been in cloud nine.
Yeah, ear to ear smile.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what was cool is if you watch the fight, John McCarthy was commentating the fight. It was, and he was like, that was one hell of a way to stay with the game plan. Because, the girl, come to find out later on, I knew the girl had a decent team that she trained with, but my daughter trains Muay Thai with a really good kickboxing school in South Florida, the Florida Kickboxing Academy. And they recognized the name of that team and said they're one of the best kickboxing teams out of California, or at least in America. And so we knew to take this girl down. The girl was 6 foot tall. So we were worried about knees. And Morgan, 2 fights ago, she had her jaw broken in 2 places and her nose broken. So we were like, at no circumstances are we standing up. And so she went to that cage and like old school Hoist trying to take somebody down.
Just not letting go.
Non-stop, glued to that person in the cage. And even though they disconnected, she got her to the cage again. And John McCarthy afterwards came up and was like, hey, that was one hell of a way to stick to your game plan. There's nothing deterred her from it. And I was real proud of her. And that was a lot of fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, it's getting close to 9 o'clock. We're actually going to be doing some sushi tonight, so we're gonna wind it up. Again, thank you, Professor Ross Kellen, one of my good friends and mentors, Champions MMA. So out in Lakeland, if you guys go out there, go visit his school. It's a wonderful school. He's a wealth of knowledge, not only in martial arts in general, not only in grappling, but I'll tell you, he puts on a leg seminar. If any of our viewers are out there looking to bring someone in to do some really old school legs, pre-Danaher stuff, this is the guy to call. Definitely bring him in.
So also for our viewers, how far are you away from Disney World?
45 minutes.
45 minutes away from Disney World. Listen, anywhere in the world, you know where Disney World is.
Yeah.
He's 45 minutes away from Disney World for the best training in the area. And then you come over to us on Sunday.
Right.
So you
Sounds
make a whole
good.
weekend of it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Come to Florida, go to Disney, go over see Ross, then come over on Sunday, come see us, and then catch your plane back to wherever.
Please watch the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, leave any comments, questions that you have, anything like that. We'll be sure to address them. Thanks so much, everyone. Later.